Hey guys, what's going on? Sherman here. I just awoke to UPS at the door, where they delivered a much expected package, and I was very happy about. It's a surprise package for you guys. I meant to do a video on it recently, but like I said, I had been sick, and it's actually taken a while to get here, so. But anyway, I'll let you guys know of my troubles that I've been having with my ZT-0561. For those of you who don't, I'll briefly go into it. I'm not going to go through the whole history of it, because it makes the video way too long. But here's what I got in the mail. This is a replacement titanium frame. You can see it's not the original. This is a replacement that they sent me. And the person over at ZT emailed me and told me that they were redesigning the titanium lock faces. So that they were going to send me one, since I've been having troubles that they haven't been able to remedy with my 0561. And they said after, apparently a bunch of people have been complaining. According to what he said, after people have been complaining, they made some changes to the titanium side. And I can't really tell what they are. You can look, they're the exact same finish. Now, some of the very early first generations of ZT-0560s and 561s had the very, very heavily blasted handles. They looked almost acid etched. They were very, very heavily bead blasted, or sand blasted rather. I happened to get one of the polished ones, and this is a polished one. I can't really tell the difference, except the new one looks a little tiny bit more unpolished inside those little craters. Traction-wise, about exactly the same. The jimping up top is much smoother. I can actually do this. And for those of you who have this knife, you know that this is almost impossible to do. So, they softened up the jimping. Let's look at that cutaway. It's about the same, actually. One thing they did differently, see, look at that one, it's just a straight line. They actually cut a little oval shape in that. Not really sure why. The gap is also slightly, no, it's about the same actually. It was nice that they actually sent this with a pocket clip too, so now I have 3 pocket clips for this knife. But it's pretty cool. I don't know, everything looks looks identical, really, inside and out. But yeah, I just want to make a video, open the knife up, put this titanium frame on it, and show you guys if it made a difference. Alright, also, I was looking, and some of you guys might be wondering, the lock face is not carbonized, which I thought they might start doing. But you can see there's like a little raised portion right there. And I'm not really sure if those are on the older lock bars. We'll take a look. As I'm going to open this up. I just thought I'd make a video about it. Just to kind of give you guys an update. And for those of you who didn't know, they will be putting the redesigned lock bars on all of the future generations of 560s and 561s. But yeah, I just wanted to open this up and show you guys. If nothing else, kind of show you the internals of a ZT-0560, 561. And, just show you if this helps remedy my issue. Like, one thing I love about these knives is the giant body screws. I mean, that's a pivot-sized screw. It actually is the same size as the pivot, which is really nice. So, I'm going to take all the screws out. I know some of you are like, well, you can just take the back screws. I'm just going to take all of them out just because. I'm going to completely disassemble it. A little, I guess you call it like a pro tip. I hear people say that a lot. A pro tip, open the blade into the locked position when you take it apart. Otherwise, the whole knife is under the tension of the locking surface, whether it be frame lock, liner lock, anything like that, compression lock. It's going to be, the whole frame is going to be under pressure because it's pushing against the blade. So if you were to remove this, or loosen the screws, it all just kind of accordions out, and you don't want that. That's when you can lose some stuff. These on there pretty tight. Actually, I'm gonna have to wait to remove these. Hold on, guys, 1 second. I have to do a brief cutaway. Alright, sorry about that, guys. Had to do some off-camera screwing there. I'd forgotten that the titanium side screws were all Loctited into place from factory. So, yeah, I had to get 2 tools and really wrench down, because it's one of those deals where both of the sides of the, both handles are screwed together into the same standoff, so that if one side is slightly looser than the other when you go to untighten it, it's just going to start spinning the standoff instead of the screw, so it just doesn't end up working. Anyway, going to extend that blade. You're going to want to be careful during this process, obviously. But unscrew the pivot. For some of you, this may be the first time you see inside of a 0560 or 561. Don't lose your stuff. The pivot screw does look a little bit different than the other ones, but still you want to try to keep them separate. Anyway, G10 scale comes off. As I said, for those of you who is the first time seeing one disassembled, a bunch of YouTubers have already done a video on it, but just in case. But anyway, here's the G10 side. Very, very nice, very clean. I dig it. Put that off to the side. This part, because this is made with such tight tolerances, this is really hard to get back on, this the stainless steel piece of frame. But you can see very heavily skeletonized. I'm going to wipe that off while I'm at it. But you can see where the ball bearings have wore in. You smoothed out that surface. Very cool looking. But I'm just going to kind of wipe this off with one of these shop towels real quick. Just, while I have this knife opened up, I don't disassemble this knife very often because it doesn't need it. It doesn't really get that dirty. Since it's a flow-through construction, I can just blow it out with compressed air. The pivot points don't need, usually you have to take these knives apart to clean out the phosphor bronze washers, and this doesn't have that. So you don't have really anything to clean. Whoop, just dropped a standoff, that's great. What would a video of mine be if I didn't drop something and have to go find it? Alright, be right back. Alright guys, sorry about that. Found it. Yeah, like I said, you want to try to keep all your stuff in order here. Take all these out since there are no screws in them anymore. And these are the washer system for this. It's a piece of blue plastic with tiny stainless steel ball bearings set into them. They don't come out. They just set inside of it. So keep those off to the side. Get that one out. I guess I'm going to clean all this out a little bit while I can. Set the blade off somewhere. Clean off that the tang a little bit. It's a little dirty. It's a dirty tang. I don't know if they're going to redesign the tang face at all. I would recommend it. But I don't know. There's a big pivot. And stop pin. It's not really a stop. It's a stop pin for the closed position. Alright. Let me clean this out a little bit. Yeah. Internally, looks like saying this is the old one. This is the brand new one. You can see the same exact milled pockets. Nothing really different. The fit and finish of the new one here up top, it looks better fit and finish wise. You can't see quite as many machining marks. That doesn't really account for anything because, I mean, this is, you're not going to see it. But it is nice that they did a little bit of a better job on the new one. Here again, you can see that oval cut out as opposed to that. Here again, I'm not really sure what the point of that is. I might have to just email them and ask, just because I'm curious. But anyway, new titanium frame. Let's try it out. So we're going to take one of these washers. It's kind of funny because one washer is, I guess you can say, countersunk into the frame. and then the blade lays flat on top of that, and then the other washer is countersunk into this side of the blade. It's just kind of funny how they did that. I mean, you know, they did it for a reason, obviously. It just looks kind of cool. It's just kind of neat how they did that. Make sure that lines up, gets a hex-shaped bolt. There's different ways that you can go about reassembling. I'm sure I'm going to get some messages like, oh, you should have done this, that first. It doesn't really matter what order you do it in. I have methods that work for me. You have methods that work for you. It's just, it doesn't really matter. But actually what I'm going to do first is I'm going to put 3 of these screws in here first. Just so they don't fly off when I'm trying to put the dang thing together. It's just going to make this reassembly a little bit easier. I'm not going to fully tighten them, just tighten them enough so that they don't fall off, these standoffs. Of course, the washer's going to fall out. I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, why is he even making a video about this? I don't know, some people are really interested about this kind of stuff, seeing a knife being disassembled and everything. Some people are really interested by it. I know I like watching videos like this, so, you know, I like making videos of things like I like to watch, if that makes sense. Alright, so now I got those partially on there. Alright, I'm going to put the washer back in there. Blade, I like to kind of leave it halfway like that. And then put the stop pin back right there. Alright, like I said, this process is a little bit tricky because the tolerances are so tight. But here again, I'm sure I'm going to get a bunch of messages like, oh, you should have done it this and that way. Alright, so I did a little off-camera action. I managed to get this on here first try. Like I said, it's just hard lining up all the pieces, and especially when they're so precisely milled. Maybe it's just mine. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the scale back on it. And I'm going to put the pivot screw on first. Just something I usually like to do. Kind of holds the thing together while you're trying to put the body screws back in it. Okay. So it's relatively easy. It didn't take me time to put that frame back on there, or the stainless steel liner went on first try. Like I said, it's just the tolerance is so tight. You know, there's really not that much spacing, so you have to get it on there precise. I mean, it has to be exact. Let's see. And here's where it gets tricky because, like I said, the standoffs just want to sit and spin about. But this is a little slightly tricky part. You have to usually get 2 tools. So here again, I might have to go off camera because I might need to get a second Torx bit. Alright, so those are on there. I'm not gonna, you know, you don't really want to over tighten things. It doesn't need to be that tight. So I'm not gonna try to over tighten it. Like I said, that one's just gonna sit there and want to spin. Let's tighten that. I'm not gonna really over tighten it. Alright, there we go. How's the lockup? Incredibly early compared to my other one. Wow, that is absolutely rock solid. No play side to side. It is the detent is pretty strong. I don't think it's as strong as my other one, but then again, I had tweaked the detent on mine a lot. You can see how far my lock bar comes over. I had bent that myself to give me that strong detent. That is super, super smooth. a little bit sticky. That's something you can expect from titanium. But like I said, the detent, it's not coming out with a firm shake, which is what I like. I don't like my knives to have a really, really weak detent. But as you can see, let me actually move my camera out a little bit so you guys can see this a little bit better. There's a new titanium lock bar. I have no idea what that little oval's for. I think it kind of creates more of a gap. Let's see, blade centering. It's a tiny bit over here to the pocket clip side. But I think that's just because the detent isn't as strong on this one, so the lock bar isn't pushing against the blade as much. But it's just, I do notice a little bit of offness there. There goes a new word there. Oh yeah, you can use the thumb studs actually a lot better right now. Oh. If my thumb didn't already hurt. Yeah, it's real sticky. You can hear that. That should break in from everything that I've ever heard. Well, let's take a look at this one. This one actually does look carbonized from the factory. Like I said, this is my old one. It does look carbonized, doesn't it? It doesn't. It kind of has. It doesn't have that same shelf. It looks like it does, but it doesn't. So remember when I was showing you about this one? How it has that little, can't even really see it. But anyway, it had that little shelf on it. You can rerun the video. So yeah, this is going to probably take time to break in. I'll definitely keep you guys updated with that. But I mean, you can look at the lockup. That is like 10% all day long. That is insane. Insanely early lockup. So let me know what you guys think. Here again, I'm not that well versed in the world of titanium frame locks. It's a culture in and of itself, and this is my first one ever. And so some of you guys can write in and tell me, maybe, is that a good thing right there? What is that? Will that wear in over time? Is it good that it's early? You know, all that stuff. You know, you guys can fill me in. That's super sticky. But like I said, let's take a look. Absolutely no blade play. I mean, none. And you guys know of my experiences with this knife. By the way, I did not go into that. Alright, so just a brief history for those of you who have not heard. I had ordered a 0560 when they first became available on the market. Got off GP Knives. Got it, it had horrendous blade play. Not GP Knives' fault at all. They don't test their knives, you know, they're not going to not sell it, you know, they're not going to test it, see if it has blade play, then not sell it if it does. So, not their fault, but anyway, got it, had blade play, sent it into ZT. They sent it back to me, said there's no issue. I'm like, really? Blade play is no issue? So I sent it back to them, they replaced the titanium frame. So they replaced the titanium frame, and got it. It had even more blade play than the old one. Sorry, drinking tactical coffee. And sent it in again, and that's when they sent me a full replacement, the 561. It had a little bit of blade play too. This has the least amount of blade play of the 3 lock faces that I've experienced. This is my second knife. But technically, this new one that they sent me, this is the 4th titanium handle that I've experienced with this knife, if that makes sense. Meaning that I've had 2 knives and 2 titanium scale replacements. So, you know, this one is finally right. I really like it that they smoothed up the jimping a little bit. It's not as painful. I'm sure a lot of you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. It's not painful down here either. Down with the lock bar, down here at the bottom of the lock bar, all smooth. Also, if you guys noticed, this, like I said, this is my 4th pocket clip that I've had. My old one, the logo has worn off somehow just from extracting from my pocket. Just my hand has rubbed off the logo. So I'm gonna see if that one holds up. If not, it's fine. Doesn't really matter. I don't really care. It's just a pocket clip. So yeah, it's gonna. That's. I'm sure it's gonna wear in. But yeah, just look at that. That's insane. Just absolutely. Hold on, let me get off camera and really wrench it. No, it's. Actually, if I wrench it, if I really wrench down on it, you can hear a little bit of noise, but I can't feel anything. Like, I don't know if you guys can... I don't know if you can hear that. I just held up to the mic. So I can hear a little noise, but I can't feel anything. And that's the good thing. I see little titanium shavings coming off there. But, yeah, I'll keep you guys updated on this, definitely. You guys know how I am about this knife, so I'll definitely keep you updated on progress, see how this wears in, and see if any blade play develops. There is absolutely none. This is the most solid I have ever felt this knife. This may give me a new... I can't even close it with one hand. This may make me look at titanium frame locks differently, because I have wanted some in the past. I really want the Spyderco Southern, however you pronounce it, flipper. But if I'm going to have the same problems with it as I've had the ZT, it's not going to be worth it, because they're about the same price. So, I don't know, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Not all titanium frame locks have issues. Not all people have experienced issues with their 0560s and 561s. My buddy's California weapons guy and Red Gladius both have the same knife, and both of theirs are completely 100% perfect. So we've kind of made jokes back and forth about how we all have the same knife, so we're kind of like ZT brothers, and yet I'm the only one with issues. So, you know, ZT, first off, I wasn't quite impressed with their customer service by telling me there's nothing wrong with my knife for having blade play. But you know, they really stepped up to the plate. They replaced a titanium lock bar the first time, which I'm sure is expensive. I'm sure these titanium frames are not cheap. You know, I mean, I know they're cheaper than what you're paying for on this knife, but, you know, still, it's not a cheap piece. And then to completely replace the knife, you know, a $260 knife, full replacement. Of course, it's not, here again, that's not what they paid to make one, but still, very nice of them. And then, you know, to send me this new redesigned lock bar, or titanium frame, I should say, was really nice. You know, they didn't have to do that. They could have just told me, you know, to go F off. So I'm sure some of them have wanted to, with as much as I've been pestering them about this. But you know, I'm sorry, you're going to pay a lot for a knife, and you know, you get a little irate, you get a little aggravated when it's not what you expect. You know, especially when the company tells you that basically there's nothing wrong with it. You know, it's all in your head. So yeah, I had been frustrated in the past, but you know, they've made it right. You know, this is perfect now. Like I said, it just needs a little bit of time to wear in. It's not as sticky. You know, I could do the pencil trick, but I've noticed when I do that, it makes it really easy to disengage. Too easy, actually. And the lock bar will actually slip, and lock will fail. So yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this little video. Kind of a ZT blade play update. So these are the new redesigned lock bars, or titanium frames, I should say, because that's actually just the lock bar. So anyway, so those are the changes. These are gonna be the ones that are on all the ZT-0560s, 561s in the future. So, by the way, saw some of the SHOT Show pictures of some of the new ZTs this year, coming out about third quarter of this year. What don't you guys think of those? They're coming out with a cheaper version of this. I think it's going to be a little bit smaller, but it's going to have flat, just peel-ply black G10. It's going to be spring-assisted, and it's going to be a stainless steel frame lock, and it's not going to have the 3D CNC milling. It's just going to be flat like the 550s and 551s. But like I said, I think it's going to be a little bit smaller than this, but otherwise it has an Elmax blade. Like I said, I think it's going to be a little bit smaller. It looks slightly smaller. But yeah, it's going to be a new, I think they're calling it the 570, I think. correct me if I'm wrong. You can Google it, ZT knives for 2013. But yeah, it looks identical to this knife, but I just don't like speed safe assisted opening knives if I can help it. But it cuts cost. It makes them able to have a smooth opening knife without having to pay a whole lot to make it smooth, you know, like the ball bearings and whatnot. So it's going to look cool. They're also coming out with a production version of the 777. So I'm really excited about that. Anyway, guys, new lock bar, working fantastically. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll keep you guys updated. Alright guys, stay safe, stay sharp, and God bless. Sherman614, peace.